Hello everybody, it's Obli here, and today I'm bringing you the final video in the series of raid tips. We have DIMENSIUS, MYTHIC, Frost DK, POV. So I'm starting off, I'm going to be fighting the living mass. I'm targeting the living mass, I'm unloading on them. I'm doing frost sides instead of obliterates because there's many targets. I just want to get as many of these out as possible. I'm also, I kind of skipped the first step of the obliterate as well. In the rotation, I'm kind of going straight from a empower into a burst into Reaper's Mark as soon as possible, just to get everything off, just to make sure I can get all my exterminates off. I don't necessarily need that first obliterate if I'm having Reaper's Mark to be the runic power generator for my breath burst. So I decided to do that. I was having a look at logs and it seemed to be something that other people were doing, so gave it a go, tested it out, liked it, and I kept it. So I'm always using Lichborn here, and I always use AMS on the spread circles because it just lines up really nicely. So Lichborn on the first soak, get in there quite nice, have my next burst rolling up, making sure I've got empowering weapons spare. I, like a fool, used my first one before the pillar when I should have been doing it afterwards, but it's fine. We still have a pretty decent burst. This was good damage. I think being at 7.8 now at this point is pretty good after your burst. This is where I'm deeming whether or not I'm doing well. So I can disadvance every single knockback, so that's exactly what I do. I find that this is a good point to use AMZ, sorry, because everybody is stacked with you, so that's what I do as well. So my guild, we kill these living mass so fast, so I don't really switch to them. I kind of have to do some passive cleave if I can, but I don't really find that I need to switch to them, especially the melee ones. The range ones, fair enough. The melee ones, not so much. So when I go out to get the Horrified here, I try and sort of skim the rest of the circle as I'm going out, just to soak a couple extra sacks before we go. I use IBF as my defensive here, but I use my Nether Prism as well with my full burst. This is a fine opportunity to use Nether Prism because you are going to stack it up later, so it's fine to use it now. So I get a little bit of cleave on the living mass before it gets into kind of, I can see there's a little target there, target marker that goes to about orange-red. Then I decide, alright, I'm going to come off of that. That's a bit much. So here I don't have a defensive for the explosion, so I'm just going to Death Strike and heal myself back up. Reduce the amount of stress that I'm putting on the healers, and then just carry on. So now DIMENSIUS is looking kind of low. We have Pillar coming back. I'm thinking if the boss is around about like 1 billion, it's not a bad position to use Pillar. I think I do hold here. And what we are going to do is I'm going to unload on the living mass instead. So we decide to hold DPS. I lose my bone grinder stacks, lose everything, but now I'm going to burst on this living mass. So I kind of face a little bit away from DIMENSIUS because I don't really want to cleave too hard on him. But we do want to kill these living mass. If I'm going to do damage on this, the damage won't actually count on the log if they don't die. So I'm keen to kill these if I'm going to fucking send a full pillar window on them. Anyway, after they're done, we are roughly 250. So that is the timer we were looking for. So everything looks pretty decent. We also have a 7 stack of our Nether Prism. So I do use my Nether Prism on the first platform here, rather than stack it all the way for the weakness. And in the phase 3, I think I might not do that going forward. This is just something I was testing out. As a whole, I didn't want to change much when we were going during progression, so I didn't really want to change where I was popping my cooldowns and make things a little bit awkward. But I think now moving forward, I probably would just do it on the weakened phase. However, here we go. We can do a full burst window here with our Nether Prism with our 7 stacks and get our bone grinder. Now I'm assigned to grip the purple ad, so the ad at the purple marker. I'm going to do just that now, and then carry on cleaving. So that's exactly what we do. Try and save some empowering weapon charges for the cleave because they'd be better used during those cleaving moments, because a empowering weapon on a frost scythe that hits 5 targets is better than an empowering weapon on an obliterate that hits 1. Now we're going to be able to disadvance the pushback here. We basically, as a DK, do fucking nothing. We don't have to do any mechanic. It is fantastic. You love life. Now I'm going to be gripping the ad that is unmarked at the moment on the far side. I get ready to do it, grip it in, and then we go. So I want to use my burst window. I want to try and use all of them as much as I can because the flying takes a long time. And if I can get my Reaper's Mark to explode as well on that guy before it dies, we are doing well. We're at top damage at the moment. We've utilised our cooldowns very well. Now, let's do a quick flight. I don't like to go to the edge because I've fallen down once and it was really embarrassing. So we just fly and go. There's not really much we can do now as we're flying. And I apologise for the quality. I didn't press record on our kill, but I was streaming. So I had to rip it off the stream, and the quality of the stream, it's not fantastic, but at least you guys can see. Okay. Now it's quite random when you go through these hoops. You don't always get the same amount of energy back, so you can get cut there. So I like to try and keep them, keep a couple of my charges ready for that second platform. Anyway, we go into this burst. We don't get lucky enough to proc our bone grinder with this burst, which is kind of annoying. But it's fine. I could have maybe managed that better. I'm going to grip the same ad. It's always the clockwise ad, essentially, that I'm gripping. Now, if you AMS and then walk into these puddles, you actually don't get slowed at all. So you can just walk very freely here. You don't even have to spend a disadvantage charge if you don't want to. I end up doing it anyway because I wasn't too sure if I was going to get in the melee circle. But I would have been fine. Now we kill the Void Warden. I don't really switch off the Pargoth because I can't do much range damage. And by the time the Warden comes, it's time to kill the Warden, it's already dead. Anyway, now we were asked to stop DPS, so I am holding my damage a little bit. I would have liked to have kept on blasting, I think, and maybe if I had, maybe I didn't hold so aggressively, I probably would have got a better log. But I finished this fight on a 93, so I'm not 93% out of 94, something like that. So I'm not that. It's not that bad. It's pretty good actually. I'm pretty happy with that. But now we're finally in a good position to kill Pargoth. So now it's dead. I'm just using AMS to prevent the damage from the pushback as well as Death Advance. Cheeky little Death Strike as well to keep myself full. But we have 13 stacks of Nether Prism. We have all of our buffs. We have Potion. Everything's rolling. Or everything's ready even. So we're going to get down here. And now the aim here is to do as much damage as possible. Now I'm using my cooldowns so fast as soon as I get them. Because the damage amp is not that long. It's 10 seconds. So any delaying at any other point in the fight will prevent you from having your cooldowns ready during the damage amp, and we're a massive DPS loss. So you need to be pressing your Pillar of Frost on cooldown to make sure that you have it for this weakened phase. Okay, so you can see here we're peaking at something like 6.5 mil, but details doesn't take into, well, it takes into account like the flight time and everything like that. So the difference of DPS between the Warcraft log and the details is like, it's quite a lot. I think it's almost like 1 million or something. So it would say 6.2, but it'll actually be 7.2 on the log. Anyway, I like to use AMS here to prevent the stacks of the rings. Just the first two. You can't really get all three, unfortunately. But so here, you go into this star in the last sort of 1 second-ish, or half a second if you can, because it does quite a lot of damage. You don't want to be in there for too long. I'll back a little AMZ down, and now I'm going to go in the melee. Now the melee circle is going to pop. I'm in there, fine. I'm going to heal myself up with Death Strike as well, because I noticed that I was a little bit lagging in health, and I really don't want to fucking die. Now, you can actually stand outside of those circles and just do AMS instead, and you'll be okay. But I like to keep my AMS for here instead. I fucked it up anyway. I did soak this one, and then that soak finished off my AMS. So now we've got the melee soak. I'm going to AMS, I'm going to Death Advance so I don't get pulled. But I'm going to complete the circle. I'm going to resolve the circle first. Now we have our next burst window coming up. I'm going to pop that. Okay, we managed to get 5 stack of Bone Grinder and Reaper's Mark pop. Everything is lovely here. So next thing I'm looking at is looking to the right for this ring. Now I don't have AMS for this, but that is fine because this I'm just going to I'm going to raw dog. I'm going to raw dog this, and then I'm actually going to have my AMS for this crush. So I'm going to Death Advance so it doesn't pull me, and then I'm going to AMS and just stay there. I'll just do nothing. So people have more space in the circles, and I just don't have to worry about it. Now I'm looking to go back into my star again. Last couple seconds. Boom. Now boss is looking pretty low here. Just don't want to stand in these circles and die, these black holes. Also, I've got my pillar window, and here we go. We have 2 stacks from Powering Weapon as well, so I can quite quickly get my Bone Grinder. Stacking this melee, I'm outside of melee range. It's kind of sad. And then when I did get into melee range, I had to Death Advance. Then I had to res. So this pillar window is kind of a sad one, I'll be honest. It's not the best managed pillar window, but this is a really tight overlap here. You need to make sure that you're on the outer ring of this to not die. You see how almost everybody is got very low there, and some people actually dropped off, but heart was racing at this point. It had been such a long progress on this one boss, but now outside of melee range, it's kind of all of these little micro things are contributing to doing less damage. But now we get a breath window right at the end, which is great. Everything procs really nicely as well. Get the Bone Grinder, get the Exterminates. A little bit longer. If the boss would have survived, maybe a little bit longer, we could have done a little bit better. could have peaked that up just a little bit higher. I think the kill time was actually too good. But that is DIMENSIUS Mythic on Frosty K. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope all my raid encounters helped you. And if you're interested in coaching or interested in my Discord, all the links are in the description below. And somebody subscribed with Prime. Thanks very much, everybody. Catch you in a bit. Bye.